I'd like to welcome everybody to what we can probably call the VAWA Club Chat. And my idea was I looked at the club list and people who have a lot of members, and all of you guys have a lot of members. We got two other clubs not on this list, but the top 10 clubs represent over 1,200 kids in Virginia, which is significant for those 12 clubs. And I just wanted to get on here and chat about the grassroots wrestling, which is what you guys are. I sent you a couple of preliminary questions just so you could think about it. I'd like to go around the horn, jump in without interrupting too fast, if you can. But the first question I have for everybody, it's kind of a standard question, is how are you guys connecting with your membership at this particular point or in the last couple of weeks? What are some of the things you guys are doing? Eileen?
So the Bandits, so we actually were very fortunate. We had our banquet in March, right after we're in the Capital Area Wrestling League. So right after they had their championships, we had our banquet. And so a lot of our kids are doing some of that online wrestling. So with PA was doing something like a lunch bunch kind of deal. So we've got some kids doing that. We've got other kids that are doing stuff with wrestling prep, but it's mostly been it's all been by Zoom. So that's kind of how we're keeping connected, but we don't really, during the off season, most of our kids train with other clubs, to be honest with you, Jack. So,
well, Jeff, you guys?
A little bit of Zoom. We just got linked back up with a local gym, and we're doing some outdoor, socially distant body weight workouts.
Yeah, I saw the post on Facebook with the inlet with all the kids all over the deck over there on the bars and
a lot of band stuff, a lot of body weight stuff, things of that nature. But we just got back into that as of today. Up until
today was your first day, okay?
Yep. We tried an app. It went all right. It was free for 90 days, but it ended up being a basketball related app, and it was more trouble than it was worth, to be quite honest. But it would have been better to start with just emailing them or something of that nature. I think we communicate a lot with Facebook and Instagram is what the kids do.
So Tom, you represent a lot of people with your two clubs, Top and the two main ones, East Loudon and Top, that you are director of, but I know you have a lot of coaches and you have a nice facility there. What are you or your coaches doing? Are they doing some of the same kind of things we're hearing?
Yeah, not a whole lot. So Eastern Loudon, which I'm on the board of, really have just been planning for next year. It's a winter-only club, so they never do anything in the off-season anyway. So a little bit of Facebook, but the board's been meeting. At Top of the Podium, we had a lot going on this spring, and sort of the one club that we run, as opposed to like independent groups coming in, they've been doing workout challenges and stuff on Instagram. But again, nothing virtual in terms of people actually getting together on Zoom or anything. Me personally focus more on when this is all over, trying to do some long range projects that you just never seem to have enough time to do, in ordinary life, getting those moving so that when we're back to normal, hopefully someday, we'll be able to roll that stuff out. But yeah, nothing other than that.
Joe, you got the Rangers Wrestling Club, same kind of thing?
Yeah. So I emailed them. So unfortunately, we didn't get through our season. So I was running the Mason-Dixon championship, and COVID-19 hit us on Wednesday, and the university out here canceled us. So I'm like, shit, what am I gonna do? Long story short, I had to cancel the tournament 3 days before it happened. So we didn't do a banquet yet. So my plan for our banquet is going to be some kind of video conference, or just maybe I might videotape something. I know I saw Willie Walters, that's out in Virginia here. They did one, so we still have to do our banquet. I've had ideas rolling through my head. I mean, I've seen, PA, they've done stuff. Man, I've just been wrestling with just personal things, just wondering what the hell is going on. Excuse my language, but I haven't done much. But I thought about doing a YouTube channel. I am sending them kind of workout ideas. I'm staying busy. I'm working out every day. I got a kid from across the street. He comes over. We don't socially distance, but we're working out. So I'm sending stuff through Facebook, kind of challenges what they can do, give them ideas to do it. But I honestly have not done much with connecting right now. But I got some things I need to do.
Nick, you at the you in the Red Lion Club? Anything? Nick, can you hear me? Nick, he's frozen. He must be in antenna area. Brian, you got the Lions Club. Nick's got the Red Lions, but you have the Lions.
Yeah, we're not doing too much right now. We run a pretty low-key program. Predominantly, we just wrestle through the winter, encourage the kids to play other sports in the spring and fall. The season kind of ended for us. We were pretty much done with our season, but our banquet was scheduled for that Thursday night. So we put together a PowerPoint presentation with some of the awards for the team, some of the write-ups for the individuals, sent that out. We send bi-weekly emails, but we wouldn't be doing too much wrestling right now anyway. Off season, we try to hold one casual practice on Saturdays just for the kids not doing other spring sports. So we're pretty much totally shut down right now.
Nick, can you hear me, Nick?
Yeah.
You're back.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like Joel said, we're in the league with in Mason-Dixon there with Joel, the Rangers and all. And our season, we had to cancel. We had a meeting there for a couple hours and went back and forth and discussed it and ended up canceling our big end of the year tournament. So we got cut short, which cut our banquet out, which cut, everything. So what we've been doing is just here and there. Facebook's our big thing to get information out with parents and everything. So every so often we'll throw stuff out there and, little challenges, kids will do stuff. We've gone through that. We did our awards. We usually vote, all the coaches vote on all the awards, and we did everything online. I had a coach take a group in age, 6U, 8U, and each coach did their own thing, sent it all in, and we put it all together, and put it out there in a YouTube video, and, everybody got to hear it. Of course, we couldn't get the plaques made, couldn't meet up, couldn't do banquet, but, just to try to stay out there and still stay in contact. But that was how it is right now. Obviously, we had our whole spring season. We run basically year-round, and we had our spring season set up with Shenandoah just starting a program up here. Tim's got, his RTC he started, which we were kind of all joining in together, running everything out of the high school where we run everything up at Hanley. So we had, all the way, the whole thing stacked ready to go, and that just got cut out from under us. So we're kind of in a holding pattern to see what's going to happen, when we can get back, if we can get back, who knows. And just trying to stay in touch. We tried to do some online stuff, just never really got traction. It's kind of a weird time, not really sure how to get back. You can do this, you can't do that, so we just really haven't done a lot with any kind of training. Trying to, but just not really sure how to really get out there to, get it all done.
Chris Colbert, you got the Mac Sharks. You Have any luck with the kids?
Yeah, we're not a year-round club. We go from early October to basically we wrap up our season at the end of states, VAWA states, and we missed our banquet. We've got plans to maybe do something at the end of the year, in the summer when people start loosening up and feel comfortable being around each other. Maybe put something together outside. But a lot of our kids do other sports. We encourage other sports, like one fellow, Brian, he does that. I mean, a lot of kids swim, lacrosse, and some play soccer. Some of our kids that are affiliated with other clubs, they've been doing virtual workouts once a night, but I say once a night. It ends up being about 2 or 3 times a week because obviously people are working. I'll tell you one thing we have taken advantage of is our coaches and some of our high school kids that come in and help us during the season are taking advantage of getting the copper and bronze certifications in coaching. And that's, if you're hanging out at home, nothing better than.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because that was one of the things I wanted to mention, that everybody, I encouraged, and I've talked to USA Wrestling, kids, 13, 14 years old, the kids that are really doing a lot, that copper course is a great little course for them to see wrestling from another perspective other than just being on the mat. And a lot of these kids grow to help you in the room.
Yep.
The more hands we have on kids, the better. But I just strongly encourage, everybody who works with kids should at least have a copper. Then you have your excellent kids who work a lot and do a lot of events. It might be a good course for them. Now, Kyle, I had to put you on mute.
Yes, sir.
I had to put you on mute because I heard all this noise in the background. Got you off mute now. Are you able to be in contact with your club, the Gorilla Wrestling Club?
No, we're on school property, so we can't go. But everyone seems to be keeping in touch pretty good. I'm sorry, guys. I'm out here walking around the neighborhood with my kids.
Well, that's okay.
What we have been doing is posting warrior workouts once a week on our Facebook page. I don't know how many of the youth kids are actually doing it, but the high school kids seem to be doing it. At least their parents are posting that they are. As far as how has it affected the club, we had to cancel our big fundraiser. I run a fishing tournament, and we've been able to raise like $23,000 in the last 2 years. We had to cancel that. Yeah, that really stinks. But we're real conservative with our money, so we'll be fine for this season. We should be able to travel as much as normal. It did put the kibosh on buying a new mat. We're still wrestling on the old Resolite mats. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to get online to do the gold card stuff or the bronze, just because my work, believe it or not, has not slowed down at all. Real estate has done nothing but picked up. I don't understand it. I figured, as soon as they canceled everything, I was like, well, there goes my job. But no, it's pretty much quadrupled the amount of work. So that's what we got going on in Gloucester right now.
The big thing with you guys, you have large clubs, and I'm curious, what was your method to grow your club to get the large numbers you have? All of you guys have 80 plus members. Tom's got a boatload up there, probably 300 kids between the 2 clubs he runs. What are some of the things you're doing or have done that we can share with some of the other clubs in the rest of Virginia? Ideas or methods that help you grow your numbers, and most importantly, keep them. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Try again.
How do I sound?
I hear you now.
Okay, I switched it.
We'll have to be very, very quiet.
Oh, is it? Can you not hear me well? I had to switch.
Oh, that's noisy. You can't do that. You got to hold still. She's killing me, Smalls.
Look, you might hear Lilo and Stitch in the background. You're just gonna have to deal with it. That's how I had to run. My guy got out of the bathtub. He's running around. So I'm gonna do the best I can. But
You're doing great.
how do we get people involved? How do we keep people involved? We really work hard. We beat up the soccer organizations. Buckeye football is a big thing around the Great Neck area in Virginia Beach. So we really try to talk to a lot of like rough and tumble type of kids and get our info out. We really spend a lot of time trying to start with the youth and when available, we go a K through 2 group and a 3 through 5 group, which allows for you to move a little faster with the older group and move slower with the younger group. And nobody gets smashed. Nobody gets too roughed up that they don't want to come back. Like, it's nice to split those 2 groups. We also, like around November, December, we start to ask the 5th graders to move up to the middle school group. And later in the spring, we ask the 8th graders to move right up, and the 7th graders that are ready to move right up with the high school. And we try to bridge the gaps as much as we can. That's how you keep them. I think you get them to make friends in those tweener years, and if they can make friends with the older kids, then they're not so afraid to try out, so to speak.
Eileen?
So
Bandits have been around a long time.
Yeah. Actually, in recent years, I stole an idea from Joel and Tom Hawk. We started doing Intro to Wrestling. So we hit the elementary and middle school that are in Fairfax County that feed into, so basically well, you probably know this. The way the schools work up here is you've got Robinson and West Springfield and Woodson, and they probably each have 10 elementary schools that feed into those high schools. And so we've hit those elementary schools and middle schools that feed into those high schools with flyers, Intro to Wrestling. And how we've sold it is we've had the high school coaches conduct those sessions. So the thought is, because sports up here are really competitive. Swimming's competitive, basketball's competitive. And when I say competitive, it's just that the high schools are so big. So it's really hard for these kids to be able to make their high school teams. And so that's kind of how we sell it, that, you're going to get to meet the high school coach. And so they run those sessions. And then afterwards, we sign them up. But most of the kids now on the Bandits, there's a few that are experienced, but we've really, like lots of clubs have gone through ebbs and flows, and most of our kids are first, second, third year wrestlers. But that's how we've done it. So to keep them in the sport, we try to make it fun. We've had some problems getting coaches. So we've partnered with, I've gotten some former wrestlers from George Mason, because we live we practice maybe a few miles from George Mason University. So we've gotten coaches that used to wrestle there. We've also gotten some high school students that were wrestlers that need volunteer hours. So that's kind of how we try to keep it fun. What I find is the younger coaches, although they don't control the room probably as well as the dads, but the younger guys, they can relate to the kids, because they're kids themselves in many respects. So, these college kids are like 20 years old, 21 years old, helping out in the room.
Awesome.
Good.
Now, Tom, you got a boatload up there. How did you guys grow your club? And I know your facility had a lot to do with it, having a freestanding place up there at the top, but you still have to get people to come in, and you have to have coaches to run them.
Yeah, I think similar to, I know like what Joel and Eileen have done, we do a ton of introduction to wrestling clinics, and probably get working through the schools in a lot of cases, flyers at schools, social media at the school, social media in general, but trying to get kids to just come and try it out. And it's just a 2-hour introduction to wrestling, but it's all geared for people who know nothing about the sport. And that's gone really well. When we're able to get people to come to top of the podium for it, probably about 75% of them sign up for wrestling. But we've got, I mean, we can do things with lights and smoke machines for the young kids, and we've got TVs, and so it's easier there. When we do them at the high school, it's a little harder. The sign-up rate isn't as great, but it's still good. 50% of the kids probably sign up. But
Can I ask you a question?
yeah.
Do you charge any money for the Intro to Wrestling Clinic, or do you just want them there?
Yeah, it's a good question. We charged one time, maybe like 4 years ago, and it was just like $10 or something. But that was the best success we ever had in actually getting people to come, and then when them signing up, because what it meant was if they paid the $10, they were more likely to show up. And then there was obviously some interest. So you had a more targeted population. But in general, we got away from that. We just didn't want to give any disincentives for people to come. So we do ask them to sign up online, because we just feel like, that gets a little bit more of a commitment from them. But it's free. And yeah, so you get a bunch of people that will show up who clearly aren't interested, and sometimes it's siblings. But you get a lot of people who are. So that's been the biggest thing. But getting the word out, you still have to get it out. And at least in Loudoun County, we used to do paper flyers and backpacks, like at elementary schools. It was very successful because the parents would always go through the backpacks. They got rid of paper flyers and went to this thing called Peach Jar, which are electronic flyers. And that has definitely made it way harder because there's just so much spam and parents don't read that stuff as much. So we're brainstorming this off season and, what can we do, especially at the elementary level. At the middle school level, I actually visit a lot of schools in Ashburn and Sterling and do presentations and work with the principals, and that's been really effective. But there's just too many elementary schools to do that. So we're trying to go back to the drawing board on, how can we, if we can't do paper flyers, what are ways to reach the younger kids? Because we've got way more middle schoolers than we do elementary kids, which is I think sometimes the opposite.
Do you advertise on Facebook? We advertise on Facebook and have some success there. I do know that.
We just started that, and I think we need to do more of that, the whole social media marketing in general.
They say the old folks do Facebook and the young folks do Instagram. So you get the old folks with Facebook and their kids. And I think it's cheap for a lot of like commercials or ads or whatever you call them.
Yeah, I think, yes, that's a great point. And then in retention, I think what you guys said already, especially for the younger kids, making sure they have fun and that the coaches aren't too serious. There's always that balance, right? If it's too fun, it's sort of romper room and they're never going to get any good, and then they'll quit because they never win and have any success. So finding that balance. And I think good coaches do that, finding fun ways to teach productive things. And I think the relationships, as somebody said too, getting these people to feel part of a community, the parents too, is important. And we've definitely found what's limited our growth is finding, and I think Eileen might have mentioned this, finding coaches for the beginner groups. Generally, the former wrestlers who are willing to coach and stuff want to move up with their kids to the more advanced room. That's common. And it's always hard to find coaches for the new rooms. And you can't just have a stranger come in, if you want to make sure they share your values and they, they know they're doing it in a proper way. So that's actually one of the long-term projects I've been working on this quarantine here, is tools and resources, to help, coaches get more comfortable if they wrestled back in the day, but they're not really ready to lead a room yet. And what can we do to make them feel more comfortable? What tools, resources? And it's not just throwing technique videos at them, but sort of more curriculum and getting into stuff like that. But that is an issue. If you're trying to grow and you're growing rapidly, it's sometimes hard to, to have good coaches in those rooms. And that's critical. If you have good coaches, kids are more likely to stay.
Joel, you have, at the Ranger, you have over 170 kids in your program.
Yeah,
So how are you keeping them? Cause you're growing them.
I'm fudging numbers, man. I'm just like signing up everybody, you know. So
They may not come, but you got them on roll. And they're on the club email.
So we've done a few things. I've definitely Tom and I have sat down and talked. I stole some of Tom's ideas because he's a marketing guru. I'm surprised he honestly didn't talk a little bit longer because he's definitely is a marketer. So I stole his idea of intro clinics. I know we talked about it. So I do 2 intro clinics. I don't charge. It's not a lot of wrestling material. Like I throw games at them. We do a warm up. We run in the circle. We do stretching. We do about 2 hours is a little long. We'll do an hour to an hour and a half. And we promote it Facebook. We send flyers like Tom suggested earlier. We send flyers. I contact the elementary school PE teachers because, you know, I used to be an elementary PE teacher. Everyone goes through you. So I've talked to them. I send them flyers, you know, for area, and it does create a lot of interest. Again, it's not a lot of wrestling technique, and coaches are a big deal, you know.
Yeah, you mentioned elementary teachers. That's what Jeff is. Jeff knows those little boogers.
Oh yeah, I love the little.
I just moved up to middle school.
You gotta like put your WWE mask on and like get crazy, and they remember dumb things. I'm like, hey, we're doing the John Cena takedown. So I'm like, you can't see me. I'll go like this. Everyone knows John Cena. So I'll tap him in the head and then shoot a double. That's John Cena. And they love it. They'll remember that forever. But so some things that we do, you got to have a goal. You really have to have a goal. When I first started, when I took over 3 years ago, we had 63 kids. So the next year, I'm like, we need 90. So we projected 90. I think we got like 93. The next year, I'm like, we want 120. And then this year, we got 143 youth kids to sign up for us. So, you know, you got to have your kind of a goal out there and kind of shoot for it. And then, you know, obviously you have to have some plans to back that up. So we send the flyers out. We also connect with other sports. We have lots of kids that do other sports, and that's huge because they see who the wrestlers are. They know football, lacrosse, who's winning the face-offs in lacrosse. The wrestlers, the coaches love that, and you need to have your parents talk it up. You know the difference on the football field between a wrestler and a non-wrestler. So talk it up with those. We sponsor a football team. So we do have a Rangers football team in Loudoun. You know, we spend $1,000 a year, but our face is on their website. So we have a football team out here. We also, during our intro clinics, it's not all for like brand new kids. We tell our kids like, hey, come on out, bring a friend, we'll give you a t-shirt. Why do you wrestle? You wrestle because you have friends there, right? So we encourage them to bring out their friends to these clinics so they get a taste of it. Again, it's not a lot of technique. We show a double leg. We play lots of games. It gets them excited. And if you have a project, you want to get bigger, you got to have coaches. I know Eileen and Tom talked about it. You got to have good coaches. We're at the threshold. I kill myself because I coach all the levels, and we have all levels. We have our kindergarten. We have little guys wrestling. We have kindergarten through second grade. We have third grade through fifth grade. We have an advanced, and then we have middle school. And I coach all of them, which I can't do anymore.
You can't. That's a bit much.
I go a little crazy, but you need the tiers, you know, because obviously some kids can bang and some kids can't, and you know that's your job as a coach to make sure you have the good matchups, right?
Yeah, well, you're talking about the WWE a minute ago. You reminded me of an old friend of Jeff Head and I, late friend, Dave Bridger. He worked in the middle school, and he had a free pizza to come to the wrestling meeting. And a lot of tough kids in the neighborhood where they all came. He had 80, 90 kids come for free pizza. But he had to watch two guys throw headlocks. And that's all it is, headlocks, okay? Just beat the crap out of each other, headlocks, couple cradles. Fed him the pizza, and physicals were the next day, and he had a bunch of kids' physicals, and he had a bunch of physical kids. Just anything to get them out. The ideas for these kids, it's got to be fun. Nick, you got a big group out there.
Yeah, our club we probably started about 10 or so years ago. Guy that used to coach up here at Hanley, David Scott and Preston Erb, got the club started more as a off-season summertime for the high school at Hanley, and I coach up there too. And it started out just to keep the high school kids during the summer in to try to get into some freestyle, some off-season stuff. And it kind of evolved from there over the years. Probably about 7 years ago, when I came back to coaching up at Hanley, about 7 years ago, David was an elementary gym teacher, and he started a program with the elementary school, start them young. We've got a pretty good, it's a small community, so we have, in Winchester City, we have 4 elementaries that feed to 1 middle to 1 high school. So we're lucky in that if we can get a kid involved when they're 5 in the program or in our system, we'll keep them all the way through. Now, kids move in, kids move out, that's always going to happen. But what he started doing was an intramural program at his 1 elementary school. And it was real close to the high school. He'd, after school, walk the kids down, show them a couple things, they'd get a t-shirt, and that was kind of the end of it. It evolved from there to what we do, over the years. Actually, the 2nd or 3rd year into it, we went to all 4 elementary schools. We started taking mats. We took mats to every school, started an intramural program after school, took a coach to every school, and basically showed them takedowns. It was just pure takedowns. That was it, hour long. We got it. We do a lot with Winchester Public Schools, so we got their backing as an intramural. Had teachers helping us to kind of corral kids, take roll, bring them in, bring them out, sign them out. Got it into intramurals where we got kids rides home. After school, that was a big thing. So kids got they were able to get bused back. Parents didn't have to worry. All they had to do was, sign off, our kids are good. So we took coaches, high school coaches, middle school coaches, guys that help in the club, took each school. And then what we would do is 1 day a week for an hour, well, depending on how many kids you had, you teach them takedown. At the end of a month, we would usually run this in about October time frame. We call it the Winchester Elementary Takedown Tournament. We would bring all the kids up to the high school, put mats down, and run a quick takedown tournament, modified, 1 point takedown, 2 points feet to back, first to 5 wins, put them in groups of 4, round robin, by age and weight. So the perfect scenario is you have 1 kid from each weight, all the way through each school. And then at the end, we would do awards. They would get ribbons, podium, the whole thing, pictures. Parents would come, and we got it down to, we would get this thing in and out in 3 hours. And we're talking, we have 120 to 150 kids signed up that we would run through. And, we're looking at the numbers trying to say, okay, if we get every year, we get 120 kids, and we keep 20 kids a year, every year coming through, we're going to have, a lot of depth, keep them in the program by the time they get to middle school, to high school. So we started running this program. Our elementary goes from K to 4, and then 5, 6 goes to our middle, but they can't compete into our middle school, only 7, 8. So we started picking up 5, 6 and threw them in the bunch. So we would have 3 mats out in our gym, run elementary, run middle, do this whole program. And at the end of it, we would have sign-ups for Red Lion, our club. So the idea is you get these kids in it, you get these kids to meet your coaches, like you're talking about, all the way through that consistency. And we have coaches at the high school level, the elementary, the club, and they all help back with all these programs. So you get a kid that's 5, when he turns, gets into the program, he already knows the coaches that he's going to see for the next 10 years. Plus, that those coaches are going to be there at your club practice, at your club meets, middle school, high school. And then, if you come back, they'll still be there. So we open up kind of that sign up to those kids, and this is to the city, but we also open up sign ups to county. We have kids, coming down, to practice with us from West Virginia. We're just right near there, so we pull in from all over. But that's our program that we try to keep, within our city kids to come through. The idea, in a perfect world, we get them in kindergarten. They'll sign right up into Red Lion. And then we have Red Lion divided up into different groups. We have beginner group, we have advanced, and then we have middle school. Winchester Public Schools works with us a lot, so we have facilities at different places, different schools, where we can move kids around. It's kind of a divide and conquer. I've got tons of help from parents to coaches, so there's no one person that really carries, all the load. The youth, the real small kids are always a hard one to coach, so that seems to be the one that I've fallen into, and I've been coaching the beginner group. The kids at 5 years old, 4, had some 3-year-olds. I kind of tell people if they're ready for it, we'll try it. And then I also coach at the high school, so I go from high school practice to like 5-year-olds. So they're kind of close.
It's about the same.
Yeah, it's about the same sometimes, but so we do a lot. We try to keep that cycle of the same, the consistency. We pull a lot of the high school kids back down to help with the younger kids. So the younger kids get to see these kids, and they get to watch. Everybody watches everybody progress and grow from, and with Shenandoah now in the mix right here in our backyard, we've got kids that are going to be going there. So now I've got club kids that are going to be going up to watch kids that have coached them. They've watched them wrestle. Now they're going to wrestle, Division III. So, we're always trying to bring everybody into a big community. Parents that we have are great. They help out and keep everything together. Always very supportive. Trying to keep it, a tight-knit family.
I think a couple of keys that several of you already mentioned that I'm sure everybody utilizes this because you're successful is bringing in the high school kids.
Right.
And getting good high school kids, come in a room, work with the kids. And then you got to have that special person if you have that really, really young group, like you just mentioned, the 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds. You got to be a special person to work with them. And you got to know what the difference between fun and games and wrestling, push and pull. And it's obviously you run the whole big club, but you're taking a hold of the most delicate age group because you got to find somebody that's in that for you to help you to pull away from it. Brian, you have another big club over there with yours. I mean, how are you doing anything different to keep your numbers up?
Yeah, we're up in Arlington, so we I think we benefit sort of from having a densely populated area. We focus on the fun of it. We try not to focus on the competition aspects too much. We have a large group of kids between 5 and 9 years old where, we honestly tell the parents, let's not even worry about these kids wrestling live matches. Let's just keep them in the room, keep having fun. If they're there with their buddies, if we're playing some games at the end of practice, that's the stuff they'll remember. And, oh yeah, by the way, we're sneaking in technique and we're actually learning how to wrestle too. But we open registration and we have 100 kids signed up within 2 weeks. And it's, I was talking with another coach about this earlier from our club. I don't even know what we're doing. It's all word of mouth. we do very little advertising. We do some off-season stuff for new wrestlers. Somebody asked whether we charge or not for that. It's usually free, where we'll open up one of the wrestling rooms on like a Saturday afternoon. But again, usually just put that out there to everybody, experienced kids and rookies. And if you want to bring a friend, bring a friend. And that's a good way to get people that, you know, aren't as familiar with the sport into a wrestling room and just sort of see what it's all about. Because I am a firm believer, even if you're not into wrestling, if you bring a kid in, especially an elementary school age kid in, to an environment like that with other kids, it's a lot of fun, and it's easy to get hooked pretty quickly. But yeah, we focus on fun, and then sort of let the competition and technique follow that. I think Joel mentioned having a goal, and I think that's a huge part of this. For us, we want to have kids that love the sport and ultimately wrestle in high school and in college after that. But, you know, I think if you instill that fun aspect and that love into it first, early on, that's the best way to retain numbers and sort of grow from there. Honestly, we have the hardest time retaining some of our better kids. 2 of our best kids this year quit after wrestling for about 10 years, and they're in middle school. So that's what hurt me the most. We're getting a pretty good amount of new kids all the time, but it's keeping those kids all the way through that, you know, I think the biggest struggle is with.
Chris, how about you guys? Anything?
I mean, yeah, we're a fairly new club. This is our 3rd year. We'll probably have anywhere from 65 to 70 kids on a regular basis, anywhere from like maybe 30 to 40 kids in the room. So I mean, we're putting the word out. We're fortunate in Prince William County. We do have middle school wrestling, and it starts in January. It goes January, February. So if we can get kids out when our season starts in October and encourage those kids, hey, come roll around with us, and there's a likelihood you're going to make your middle school team. Because unfortunately, though, in the middle school wrestling in this area, you're either a dynamite wrestler or you're brand new. But yeah, if kids can come and roll around with us for a couple months in the middle school, and then make their team, and they get hooked and really enjoy the sport, then they jump on it. A couple gimmicky things that we do, obviously, you know, bring a friend. It's free. You want to come try it out, it's obviously free. We do some, again, gimmicky stuff like Wrestler of the Week, and we give there's this local gal that makes these cookies that I think they cost like $5 a piece, but I'm telling you, every
That'll
kid
get them. That'll get the little ones in the door.
once one of these cookies, be Wrestler of the Week, and you make a Facebook post, Instagram post, and everybody's talking about it. And then, you know, you hear some sideline stuff where, dang, man, I really want to work towards Wrestler of the Week so I can get that cookie. They're not worried about Wrestler of the Week. They're worried about the damn cookie. As far as incentivizing with coaches,
they're kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, make it fun, and hell, we keep the cookies in our freezer, and come to find out, my oldest ate about 10 of them one week, so we were short cookies. That made my wife livid. But with coach retention, we found this year. I don't know how other clubs do it. Obviously, if you have kids on our team, coaches, those kids are free. We struggle. I was nice to hear Nick mentioned in Winchester, you get tons of school support. Unfortunately, in Prince William, we get 0 school support. They really think we're a threat, which I don't understand. We're an independent.
I think that's the difference in a bigger city and a smaller city.
Yeah, but I mean,
a small county environment that was more welcoming. Jeff and I, we live in a big city, and we understand the difference.
Yeah, I don't get that. We're a club. We want to promote the sport and have everybody at least try it, but we don't get the support from our school. But with coaches, you know, coaches, get back to coaches, their kids wrestle for free at no charge. And with keeping kids involved in our club once they get to the high school level, once October rolls around, man, those kids, we don't charge those kids to be part of the club. You want to come roll around. You want to help some younger kids and teach them what you've learned over the years. There's no charge, and those kids love that because they get maybe a month and a half where they can, if they're not wrestling year round, get ready for the season. One other thing that we've done that's from a financial standpoint from a club is probably not a good idea, but it doesn't scare off people, is we've started a punch card system. So rather than, hey, I'll make it up, maybe $100 a month, $300, $200 a month, whatever it may be, to join our club, you pay as you go. So if you get a kid that, you buy a punch card, I think it works out to be about $10 a session. You buy 10 punch cards, if you come to 10 practices for the year, man, it's $10. So from a parent's perspective, it's not a huge financial commitment. But again, you pay as you go. So if you want to just try it, maybe you want to try our club, maybe you want to go to another club, I support that 100%. So it's not that huge commitment where, I'm identifying with Matt Sharks. Matt Sharks is my club. I want you to compete with us and have a good time and learn something from us. But I encourage guys to go to a different club, learn some different technique, learn different coaching styles. Something I teach over and over that may not sink in with a kid, and they hear it and see it from another coach, and they jump on it right away. Oh my gosh, I'm thrilled to hear that. So I push that. I support that 100%. And I encourage kids to try other clubs. I mean, we want to build our club with numbers and be successful, but I would rather see the individual kids be successful over the club.
Sounds good. Zach, you're down at Powhatan in Richmond area, and you've taken over that club. Been there a couple years now, right?
Yeah, we just finished our fourth season this year.
Fourth season, yeah, nice little facility. How I know you're a smaller community. Does that help you keep your numbers or grow your numbers? Is that easier for you?
It's we're growing in Powhatan itself. It's really, we're growing from the areas around it. We're growing from Chesterfield, that Clover Hill area. I've been fielding a lot of calls, especially through this quarantine, of people from out in the Louisa, Fluvanna area. So I'm not entirely sure what it is we're doing, because me running the club full time as well as coaching up at the high school, that's really my main focus, and people really seem to come in and want to be a part of that. I took a little trick from Kevin Dresser. He used to go around and just kind of hand dual meet tickets out to get people to come watch his college dual meets, and we've made a big deal of our high school dual meets. We get the lights and the smoke machines and the spotlights, and we just want all of the youth kids in the stands to kind of come and enjoy that. And it's kind of just helped us build this really big family that people.
Yeah, we've kind of lost that in dual meets.
What's that?
We've kind of lost the fun in the dual meet.
Yeah, and we've been able to bring that back and make them special. And like I said, I've found that people really, once you get the winning and losing out of the way, and you can show that their kid has progressed, even if it's a little bit, they've progressed either as a wrestler or as a student, they're more apt to just keep their kids in this special environment, not just for the wrestling, but just for the community aspect that the club was built around.
It's outstanding.
It's pretty good.
Hey, Kyle, what are y'all doing to keep your numbers?
Well, Jack, when I go last, it sounds like I'm copying everybody else.
Well, hey, if you're dittoing everybody, that's fine, because there've been a lot of great ideas, and smart wrestling people learn how to work smart, not hard. You copy what people are doing that's successful. You don't have to create something new, but somebody's doing something out there that's different than somebody else, and it works. But neighborhoods are also different, and what works in one neighborhood doesn't necessarily work in another.
I've heard a lot of great ideas, actually, stuff that I've never thought of. Jack, are you recording all this so I can watch this later?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Basically what we do is just try to end every practice with a game. We get in our advanced classes, they get pretty intense. You got some kids that want to cry and they want to leave, and then, they can't walk, and all of a sudden game time, they jump up like they just walked in the room. and they leave on that high note. And I feel like that's really helped us out a lot, is just making it fun. I've been really fortunate to have some really good coaches, and I got some younger guys that are in really good shape. So, like, we do a lot of agility drills. They see these coaches walking around on their hands and doing flips off the wall, just constant movement. I do think children really benefit with structure. So everything's structured. Until we get to a game, then it's chaos. And
it's called organized chaos. You got to have organized chaos in the wrestling room.
That's right. One of the coaches mentioned that as far as building our numbers and stuff, about the other sports, parents, you can always tell which kids wrestle. And we pick up a lot of football kids. So a lot of my coaches coach football, the youth football program here.
Yeah.
And we had probably 15 new kids sign up this year that they were there because they see the smallest kid on the football team's a wrestler, and he's, just basically the best player on the team. He's the most aggressive. He doesn't cry when he gets hit. He never gets tired. The wrestlers are used to being pushed hard. When they get on the football field, it really shows. That's main thing. We try to keep our costs down real low with our fundraisers and stuff. We sponsor a lot of families that can't afford it. I try to bring in as many guest coaches as I can. I'll bring in just people around the community that have a good name. I'll show them a wrestling move before practice and get them to show it. I've been trying to get our dare officer to come in. He doesn't know anything about wrestling, but he said he's down to come in this season and get him to show a double leg or something. Just community, As far as the coaches that are basically just dads that never wrestled before, we have several coaches meetings before the practices actually start, and go over the basics. I make sure the coaches are paying attention, because not only are we showing the kids a move, but we're showing the coaches that never wrestled the moves too. And if they can't show the move properly, then that's bad habits that we got to fix later. But everybody seems to buy into the program that we built. We don't allow any drama in the club. That always seems to help our parents get along. If something does come up, I try to squash that behind closed doors. And we coach our parents too. If you don't like a particular coach, come to me, or if you don't like me, go to one of the board members, and we'll get it straight before it ever goes to anything. Before it actually becomes an actual problem, and all that helps.
Well, Kyle, since I finished with you, I'm going to start with you on the next one.
All right.
I'm going to go around the horn here. I appreciate this. I didn't want to drag it out too long, but we all got some good things to say. We've all been cooped up, I think, and we got a lot to get off our chest. But you've all shared a lot of great ideas, and some of the ideas are equally the same for each of you. But I would like to know just one thing that VAWA can do for the clubs or the kids in Virginia. How can VAWA help your program or programs? Just give me one thing, and I'm going to go around the horn and get everybody, give me one idea, because I'm always looking for things that we can do, and I'm trying. And one of the things is trying to connect wrestling. But Kyle, can you think of one thing that would help your club that we could do for you?
Oh man, Jack, y'all do a pretty good job now, and not trying to kiss your butt on that. Kind of drawing a blank here. I mean, I'm a big fan of the way the States goes. You'd run the holiday duels. Maybe you could do something like just a Virginia duel tournament.
You talking about a club duels?
Yes, just strictly club. I mean, you're always going to have your elite teams and stuff. They're cherry picking kids, but even that, I mean, you could have different divisions just like you do at the holiday duels. My program, we're trying to push towards a lot more duels and to have more dual teams. I could probably put together 2 or 3 dual teams to take somewhere, and we could send them different places to be nice.
Zach, one thing.
Little more clinics, maybe.
Well, not to make excuses, we had several lined up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have a good coaching staff of people that go to Fargo and take the teams to the national duels, and we had several clinics last year, and we're already planning and scheduling multiple this spring, and then things went bad.
Yeah,
things went south, and
like Kyle said,
we have gotten a lot of success with doing those. We call them ODPs. We'll have one in the fall again at UVA. It's what we had last year. We've always had a fall one. And we may try to do two, like do one out at Tech, try to cover different parts of the state. But that's only for 40 kids that wrestle. So it's not, but the ODPs are pretty much for everybody. Chris, can you think of something we can do?
Maybe promoting VAWA a little more with like local tryouts.
You talking about the teams?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of it is centered around like central and southeastern and parts of Southwest Virginia, but maybe come up north. I mean, I know it's a crazy state. Everybody says Northern Virginia is completely different than Southern Virginia, and I agree. But maybe somehow mix those two together and try to do some more crossover with that, because I think they're, it jumps. When I was growing up wrestling, man, the beach was the place to be. Now it's, you got pockets of kids everywhere. So somehow to cross over that we can, pull those best kids from our state, whether it be from, Southwestern, Central, Northern Virginia, down at the beach, and bring those kids together.
Brian, one thing.
I think you guys do a great job. I do maintain, I think that the experienced kids and the diehard year-round wrestlers are going to find stuff that suits them. I would like to see maybe more introductory wrestling tournaments, focus on novice and rookie type wrestlers, just to keep those guys at, some sort of competition level where they're not getting their doors blown off by experienced kids.
Well, you hit a good point. That's down in the 757 area. We're doing that a lot now.
Yeah, I'll speak on that.
Every single club has a rookie division, and we write in there usually 1 year's experience. Now, we ask coaches and parents to do the right thing, and most do. And what we're finding is those rookie kids are they're wrestling at a level that's good for them, and they're not having somebody come out and do Granby rolls on them and double legs and headlocks on the kid that hadn't been wrestling very long. And he might, and the parents can choose to go some of these can go rookie and then go up in the afternoon into the next division. And that's a parent choice, but at least the kids have an opportunity. But you're right on the rookie division, but that is solely the group that's running the tournament.
Right.
It's really it's not a VAWA thing to dictate, because I don't know what Nick's going to do in his area and Joel's going to do in his area and Kyle over at Gloucester. Everybody's in different places and neighborhoods and runs tournaments, but the rookie thing is successful. We're getting good numbers because of that. You can ask Jeff, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I'll say that's a big deal. It's a low risk tournament for a lot of new parents. They see their little one go out there and get smashed in like a tough tournament, and they don't like it. So, it's low risk. It's like 0 to 1 year. So, you'll have some sandbaggers, like Coach says, but at the end of the day, it's pretty green, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good bad wrestling, right?
Pretty good bad wrestling. Well, we typically it's that 5 and 6 year old running around, but it's also
right.
We typically drop the price for the rookie also, and some of the tournaments they won't give them medals. They'll say rookie division wrestles and not even anything. It just kind of depends on the tournament director. But down south in the 757, just about every tournament has a rookie division now. because they're seeing the numbers grow because of it. Plus, it's giving those young kids an opportunity to compete
And
spell
folks,
the gym and see what competing's like, but not get beat up to death.
if you're doing it for a fundraiser, strictly for a fundraiser, the rookie tournament will get quite a bit more entries than the regular tournament. You'll get the entire rookie crew. You'll get and then all the rookies that feel like they did all right will have a half an hour to sign up for the later afternoon tournament. It's been great for us. The afternoon tournament is a regular tournament, and the morning is usually rookies. So again, most clubs in our area will do one regular tournament around sometime in the season and one rookie tournament sometime in the season. I think it works great. One thing I would ask or to try to figure out with VAWA is to
VAWA.
Oh, did I say VAWA?
Don't you
VAWA
dare.
is to somehow come up with
I'm gonna
a-
slap you.
I'll do some squat thrusts.
I'm gonna put you in a corner just like you did. What I did at Ocean Lakes.
Hey, let's not talk about all that.
100 squat thrusts.
It's just we just gotta find a way. Like I feel like as soon as you ask about the calendar, it's booked. So I don't know how you sort that out, but it's like
Well,
you
the big thing on a calendar is it is open for anybody who's thinking about a tournament at any time to come tell me.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure. Well,
and it's really easy. It's really easy to have a tournament at Great Neck and a tournament in Richmond and a tournament in Northern Virginia during the early time because the kids don't need to travel 3 hours.
Right. And
The
I think
rookies drive within 45 minutes anyway. But in the area, so you've already got your date anyway. I don't know why you're whining.
I'm not whining. I don't. Do we have a date? Like that's.
Yes, you do. You're the first one to get one.
Oh, good job, wrestling club folks, because I'm the wrestling guy. My guys are taking care of
Guys, you
business.
can tell he's a coach. He's not an administrator.
Yeah,
Nick,
administrate, coach is coach.
Nick, what's something that VAWA can do for either clubs or leagues or to help wrestling? We're trying to help the sport of wrestling.
I mean, there's a couple of things that the good point, duels. That's a big thing that we're really trying to push more of, from our youth level all the way up. And like Zach was saying, with Dresser was the one that kind of put out, it's a show. You got to put a show on for people. You got to fill the stands. We've got a lot of crazy ideas to try to, get people in the stands and get more people involved. Duels are a big one. We would love to see like an all-state, just a state club duels team. That was one just thinking of right there. The other thing, I think that I've had some guys probably contact you already. We were looking, trying to get some more freestyle and Greco tournaments. And I think reached out to you about looking at getting referees. That's kind of the big unknown on our end of getting some referees that are qualified for freestyle and Greco.
And we actually have an excellent group of referees. We
Right.
have 3 or 4 guys that are top in USA officials.
Right.
But they'll tell you we're getting older and we're not going to be around a long time.
Yeah.
And they mean it in the gentlest of ways that your club and Joel's club and Tom's club and Brian's and Zach's, we need to find those kids who love wrestling and to get them officiating. We need to get those seniors officiating youth tournaments in spring and working with a mentor. We got guys that want to help people learn. We got the moms and the dads that probably could come out and referee and be a freestyle ref and really like refs because they're always there anyway.
Right.
But it's the age-old thing. People say, well, you need to get more referees. Well, the door's always open to get more referees. The coaches need to get kids that are interested to encourage them to referee.
Right. And on our part, we're trying to introduce more of the freestyle and Greco into our club. I would say 99% of our club right now is folk style is what we're focused on. And we're trying to open that up into more freestyle and Greco. So it's a lot of uncharted territory for a lot of our kids, a lot of our coaches. And that's not, we're going to lean heavy on you guys for guidance and help. So, I wouldn't say more what you could do, but more probably where we're going to be calling in looking for help. We would like to open up a tournament up in our neck of the woods for a freestyle Grego tournament in the off season, just because where we are, we're so far away from everybody else, but yet we're so close to West Virginia, PA, Maryland. We can pull kids down, pull kids up. I mean, we're kind of tucked away in the Northwest up there. So.
Well, you're in a good corner. Joel, what's one thing you think we can do?
And Nick, man, you're like 45 minutes away, buddy. You're not that far away.
Not too far from you, I know.
I wanted to hit back on retention real quick. I'm just going to hit a list because I didn't say it. I have stuff written down. Tournaments wise, if you want to keep kids, you can't have all day tournaments. You got to limit the tournaments to like 2 hours. You can't keep the tournaments long. I know we're working on that in our league and all that stuff. Like another coach talked about earlier, you don't have to compete. You can wrestle for us, but you don't have to compete at these tournaments. If you just want to do practices and have fun, that's great. We push that. We don't push to compete. Shorts and shirts. Honestly, the first year I went there, if I want to keep kids, you can wear fight shorts and a shirt. You don't have to wear a singlet. I think that was big on a lot of kids. We get the high school coaches involved big time, I think that's important because we use their facilities. Getting them involved and in our vision, because we feed them, is super important. Got to have games. Someone talked about that earlier. Got to have games in it. Keep it cheap. We're pretty cheap. At the banquets, we give everybody something. Obviously, the higher level kids, we give more. We do team hikes, a community. I think Nick talked about keeping the community. We are family. I preach family. We do team hikes. We went to a family light show during Christmas time. We were supposed to have some family night outs together, support local business, and we're going to go have family night, a parents' night. So some of the things at the high school during their wrestling duels, we'll have a youth night, and we have a whole bunch of high schools right there, and we go. They let us in for free, and it's great for the kids to see the high school level kids. Okay, what you guys can do?
Gosh,
all right.
We're there now, huh?
I had to put it down. There's lots of things. I think we should have just a Virginia duels just for Virginia. I know you guys have Virginia duels and it's everybody. It would be great if you just had Virginia teams. The biggest thing is the refs. We want real refs in our league, and the price of refs are ridiculous. We're not making money. I don't know if there's a way, if you're a Virginia wrestling member, to get a cheaper rate on refs. Because we make zero. I ran 2 tournaments, and we're in a red in 2 tournaments, which is not a big deal for us. That's not a moneymaker. But we were in the red because we had to pay the refs. We had real refs.
Well, we have in the South, we have real refs, but we've got a ratio. It's $6-7 an entry fee, and that's it. And they share it, and they know it coming in. And we try to speculate the number of kids and the guys that try to grab it's local guys that get people to do reffing. They'll try to average 3 on 2 and try to work that way as a number of mats and try to calculate. But I usually, the ones I run, I call the guy like on Thursday, Friday, and let him know what the entries are. And the bigger thing, if they know if that's going in, and you get a group of guys that know that's going in, well, they know that's how you're going to pay them. And I'm not sure how you pay your guys. We're talking folk style and stuff like that. And freestyle events, we do the same kind of thing.
Yeah, and that might be a league thing that we have to work out with that matter. So.
Yeah. Tom, what can we do?
I think that similar theme, I guess, refs, some of the things we've talked about. I think like clinics, ref clinics, like a lot of the local leagues are using high school guys or college guys or even former college wrestlers. They're not certified refs. And just so referee clinics, to help them, even if it's just they're around the state or wherever it makes sense. But I know we'd have a ton of people. There's some things we keep talking about doing and we just haven't made it happen yet. But I think that's something maybe VAWA could assist with. Andrew Farah came up one time and did a coaches clinic at top of the podium, and that was very well received. And every year I keep saying you got to do coaches clinics, and it's just sometimes hard to make happen with everything else happening. But maybe that's something. There could be a group that goes on the road to some different locations. So coaches clinics, ref clinics. The price of refs is a problem. And I would say that related to what Joel just said, when we've gotten certified refs for our league, generally that's when we get the most complaints. And I don't know if it's because of the age group.
I think it's probably because they call the rules and parents don't.
Well, there's different reasons, and definitely age group is if you bring a high school ref in with the 6-year-olds, they struggle sometimes. But you pay more and you tend to get more complaints. Whereas if we could just support, a lot of times we'll use George Mason guys that are redshirting or former George Mason wrestlers. Maryland, Kerry McCoy set us up with a bunch of Maryland guys. And generally they do a really solid job. But just to give them some extra, if there were some clinics, from good respected refs that would help them out and just give them a little more to be even better, that would be great. And then last thing is, I think Joel was saying something about, maybe the refs are, a deal to get better rates or something. I'd say the same with trainers as well.
Trainer's a tough one. That's going to be $30 to $35 an hour, no matter where you are. I've fought that one to a certain point and I gave up.
Okay.
That's coming from the medical places. That's a hard one. I wish it was better, but on the other hand, it's just like when you have a baby and then you got to go to work and you got to have childcare. You don't want to spend any money, but you want the childcare to be really, really good. Well, it's the same kind of thing with trainer. You don't want to pay much, but you want them to be really, really good. So it's a rock and a hard place. Eileen, what can we do?
So we talked a lot about rookie tournaments. The rookie states, I don't know if you've ever had a rookie state. I remember you used to have the Future Champions tournament. That's how actually my son started doing open tournaments. But the rookie state for VAWA might be good. Of course, if it's all day, that probably wouldn't be good. And then maybe a state qualifier. And, I know that would be more money. I saw the complaints in Maryland about state qualifiers, but maybe a state qualifier for the youth tournament.
Yeah, we've rolled that around a little bit. It's our state qualifier regionals. It's not out of the question. It's just coordinating the timing in place. It's just coordinating the thing. If everybody's noticed, just about every weekend something's going on somewhere, somehow, someplace. So weekends seem to be limited, and then you run out of time. It's at least we set our state tournament last year for next year, so it's set, and we try to get our facility and we work on that too. But we try to set the date. Last but not least, Jeff, what's one thing that VAWA can do? Is there something we can do for your club?
On the schedule. But I'm very appreciative of the ease that it is that you guys help us run tournaments. But just figuring out how to align the schedule. I know, sometimes I feel like we got a book for 2022, right now.
Well, in each area you might, because you're in the 757, so you kind of talk to each other, the people that have events, and you try not to step on each other's toes. And in our area, some dates have become pretty traditional, and people are kind of locking in weekends, 1st and 2nd, 3rd of this month, and it's kind of happening, and people are falling the next year about the same time, and it's starting to work out. I don't know if the people in this group remember, but 757 went from about one tournament to about a boatload of tournaments in the last 3 years. And it has a large amount of members now in the 757 area that it never had before because they got some competitions. We got coaches doing a good job. Ladies and gentlemen, coaches, I really appreciate everything tonight. We've drugged this out, but you know, sometimes we all got to sit together and chat a little bit, at least in our own home. You guys are, like I said, you guys are the grassroots. You are everything. I grew up with grassroots coaching. That's where I learned how to coach. That's where I got my teeth, sharpened. If we can keep grassroots happy and growing, I think we can help the upper levels. But you guys are doing it all, and once again, I appreciate it and thank you. And hopefully we see each other soon, and hopefully we're on the mat real soon, like as in real soon. So once again, we're going to close this meeting. Thanks everybody, and be safe. Wear your mask.
That's good. Thank you, guys.
Jack.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you doing this.